Came to Hasha.
Harrigamach, I'm a Chapin.
Gléidheadh, I believe. I guess Kingussie how?
Florence or Little Pond, suburban Florence.
Suburban Florence. That's where you were
Born,
brought up.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you now live in
Gléidheadh.
Gléidheadh.
Yeah.
And Chase Smiler, your horse. Can you tell me some of your genealogy? I understand there's a Cameron connection in your background somewhere.
Well, I've got what I consider a love affair with Scotland that has gone on for many, many years. And if you look around my cottage or my home, you'll soon see that I definitely have a linkage with Scotland. My direction in all of this kind of went a little bit, goes back to the early 50s when I started to buy and collect Buchan stoneware, which is the thistle pattern.
Yes.
And I have a full set of all those dishes, and if you want to see them later on, I'll show them to you. So that was, it started at the normal way in Gléidheadh a long time ago. But anyway, my mother is, my Scottish blood comes through my mother. She was born in Aspey Bay area, and my grandmother and grandfather Cameron are from that area, as well as my grandfather Job is from down that area as well. So I've got it. I often thought I should check with some of that DNA and your ancestry to see how much real Scottish blood. One of my priest friends who's now dead used to say, "Vernon, you and your damn chosen heritage." Anyway, I definitely identify with Clan Cameron.
Right. Very good. And your father's name was Bernard?
Yes. Yeah.
Boutilier. And he was born in
suburban Florence.
Suburban Florence.
Little Pond.
And your mother's name was Margaret.
Right, yes.
Job.
Yeah, Margaret Cameron Job.
Mm-hmm. You have some sisters and a brother.
Oh, good Lord, yes. I had one brother, the oldest in the family. He's dead now, George. He died about 30 years ago. But I have 4 sisters. One in Kingussie, one in Breton, and 2 in Little Pond, or suburban Florence.
So can you tell us about your early years, your education, where you went to school and university, seminary?
Okay, I went locally, Little Pond up to grade 9, then to Florence for grades 10 and 11, and then on to North Sydney Thompson High School for grade 12. And from there I went to St. Yves, and I started out in engineering, switched over to arts, and graduated from St. Yves in 1958. And that stuff is in that book, so if you wanted to check on that, you can.
Yes.
And then I was ordained, and I went to seminary in Ottawa for 4 years, 58 to 62. And then I was assigned first to Lourdes with Father Mike Gillis for 1 year, and then on to Sydney, St. Teresa's for 1 year. And from there, I went to, switch around, be one of my educational background. While in Ottawa, I managed to get a master's in arts by working on a thesis on the vocational, study the vocations in our diocese. And then, what else did I do there? Oh yeah, I got the license in sacred theology, which is master's level theology degree.
I see that initial STL.
STL, that's it, yeah. And then after the year in St. Teresa's, I went to Catholic U in Washington, the National Catholic School of Social Service, and got my social work degree, master's in social work. Then I went on to Detroit to work towards my certification in the Academy of Certified Social Workers. So I was there for the better part of 2 years and came back home in, what year did I come home? Anyway, I came home. I forget the year now.
In the 60s.
In the 60s, yeah, it was.
Mid-60s.
Yeah, it was, yeah. Okay. Yeah, to be about 68 or so, I would have come home, yeah. 69, I think it was, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any teachers you had along the way that inspired you? Perhaps towards your love for all things Scottish and just inspired you maybe to join the priesthood?
Yeah, E.D. Logan was the principal in Florence School. He was a very stern guy, and if he liked you, he really devoted himself to you. But if you weren't a student and you weren't cooperating, look out. Excuse me. So he is one. I didn't want to take Latin, mainly because I didn't want to be a priest. I avoided the concept of being a priest. Okay. And he said to me, "You better take Latin. You never can tell what's going to happen to you. You could well be a priest in the so that's the kind of stuff where it was." And he was one that was very much behind me, you know. I suppose Father Malcolm MacDonnell, when I went to St. Yves, was really my mentor in many, many ways. And I have a lifelong relationship with him. Eh? And yeah, you have some of that stuff there.
I do. I have a nice picture of Father Malcolm here if you'd like to show
Yeah, that's very definitely it. Yeah.
I'm going to zoom in on that.
Yeah, may the teaching of your Son Jesus lead us in the ways of whatsoever things are true, noble, good, and worthy of praise. Yeah. May your soul rest in peace. Yeah, that's very good. Did you get it? Yeah.
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, well, he was definitely a mentor of mine, eh?
What year did you join the priesthood?
I went to the seminary in 58 in Ottawa and was ordained in 62. Yeah.
So you just celebrated your 50th anniversary.
Oh, 5 years ago.
5 years ago, so it's 55
5,
this
yes.
year.
Yeah.
Well, that's quite a record indeed.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And I'm also 80, dear.
That's another good milestone. So I understand in connection with your social work, you were involved with the FSENS, the Family Service of Eastern Nova Scotia. You did some work with that group?
I founded that group.
You founded the group?
Oh, yes.
Great.
After I came back from Detroit, I then became Associate Director of Diocesan Charities, which was the umbrella agency that looked after the seniors, homes, child welfare service, the family service operation. And then ultimately I became the director. I was with Father John Webb, a living saint who is now with the Lord. And then while there, I established Family Service of Eastern Nova Scotia, which amounted to merging a number of agencies that already existed and opening up new ones. I opened up one in the Port Hawkesbury area to make sure that I covered Inverness and Richmond counties, and another one in New Glasgow to cover Pictou County. So in the end, I had covered the whole area that the diocese covers, and that's where I created Family Service of Eastern Nova Scotia.
And that organization is still
oh God, yeah, still
going
existing.
strong?
Yeah, I wrote that book, my memoirs of social worker,
Yes.
in order to, oh yeah, you want me to look at that, eh?
Yeah, I'd like to.
I wrote that in order to support family service. And as a result, I encourage people to make donations if they wanted to. And there's about 35,000 that has come in to support it.
Amazing.
And if you want to check on some of the stuff that you've failed to answer, I failed to answer, you might find it in here.
Can you hold that up so I can zoom in on that for the
Yeah.
camera? Maybe down a little lower there.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. So, what year did you write that book?
And I can also...
Yes, there you go. Before and after.
Yeah, that's it. What year did I do that? I was, it's after I retired. It would be 60, maybe about 64, 65, something of that nature. So, anyway.
Good. That's quite an accomplishment right there.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to have done that.
Yeah. Well, you've made some many friends and contacts in Scotland, in the old country. Yeah. Can you talk a bit about that, when you made your first trip over there and how that came about? And
well, I was in the Navy, the UNTD, University Naval Training Division program, when I was at St. X, and we had a cruise over to Britain, and one of the stops was at Invergordon, Scotland. So that was my first trip over there. Since then, there have been many. I've been since. I'm sure I've been over to Scotland about 30 times, but I definitely linked with Scotland. I'm going over again, by the way, in June.
Yes, that's great.
Yeah.
But you served as a parish priest there.
Yeah, I was pastor in a place called Kingussie. And Kingussie is Central Highlands. It's about 50 miles south of Inverness and 40 miles east of Fort William. So it's truly in the center of the Highlands. I was there for 3 years. And while there, it's a very small parish. I had about 45 families. That's 45 people. It wasn't necessarily families. Yeah. And so I organized my schedule so that I could do a lot of coverage. I traveled as far north, far south, east, west, outer islands, covered the whole of Scotland while I was there. Yeah. So much so that when I later on, I began to guide tours over to Scotland, and I had the knowledge of that. In many ways, I think I knew the history of Scotland and the territory a lot better than most Scots. Yeah, so I did that. But while there, I got to know a number of people. I did a number of things. One of the things that helped Scottish culture is that I befriended a gentleman who is one of the wealthiest men in Britain. He happens to be the 7th wealthiest person in Britain. And Urs Swashenbach is the guy's name. And he had one of his summer home was, he tore down Ben Alder Castle and rebuilt it with the facade on it. And he spent something like £55 million to build the Ben Alder estate. He was in the parish that I was pastor of, and he would come, he'd be there maybe 4, maybe 6 weeks out of the year. So I got to know him that way. And he, so much so that when I was leaving, they put on a big party for me, and he flew up from his home. His main home is in Henley on the Thames down in the London area, but he has another home in Switzerland too. And by the way, he's at a ranch in Australia. and his wife was former Miss Australia,
Wow.
that sort of thing. Anyway, he was in the parish, and I got to know him as a result. I always knew he was in church when he was there, because when the collection plate was passed around, there was always 100 pounds in it. Nobody else put 100 pounds in it, I assure you. But that it was always welcome. Anyway, he had come to the farewell party for me, flew up from London, and afterwards when I got back home, I wrote him and thanked him for coming and expressed that if he were interested in an honorary degree, I might be able to do something for him through St. X. And he wrote back and said, yeah, that'd be nice, but for what reason? Well, I said, for things Scottish culture, and you're living in Ben Alder, which was one of Bonnie Prince Charlie's retreats after the defeat of Culloden. So you might be interested in that. So then St. X became very interested in the man, of course. So they flew me over to advance the cause. Yeah. So I did. And as a result, he made a donation of $1 million to St. X, which, by the way, was the first $1 million contribution that was made. Since then, there have been a few off that ilk, but that was the first one. Mm-hmm. And he established a chair, the Ben Alder Chair of Celtic Studies at St. X, and he was given an honorary degree for that. Okay, is that fair enough?
Yes, that's wonderful. So, are you still in touch with him?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I correspond with him all the time. Yeah, good. Yeah. He's later on when we move over to show you some pictures. I'll show you a picture of his castle, and I've been over there, and plus a chapel. He's built a chapel. He spent £15 million to build a private chapel. I've celebrated Mass there, and I likely will do so on this next trip.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So you've had another involvement in promoting the Gaelic language and culture, and you initiated a group called the Celtic Travel Bursary Endowment Fund Committee.
Yes.
And can you tell us about that?
Yeah.
What year it began?
Yeah. When I was in Scotland, I had a tremendous number of visitors from Nova Scotia, about 230 to be exact. I kept a visitors' signature list. A large number of them were young people. A number of them I didn't know, but I knew their parents or somebody of that nature. Yeah. And I represented, when they were traveling over to Europe and Scotland, I represented free laundry, free lodging, and that sort of stuff. So I got to know, it must have been good 10%, 20 or more of those young people. And as a result, when I got back home, I thought, okay, all of these young people were truly interested in the Scottish heritage and culture. So I decided, in conversation with people like Father Malcolm MacDonnell and Sister Margaret MacDonnell, I set out to establish a fund. And I recruited a board of directors, a few very prominent names in the Scottish culture. Alan J. McCachran agreed to be co-chair of the thing if I invited John Buchanan. So I covered the Tories and the Liberals in the thing. And Margaret I. Chisholm and Father MacDonnell and Malcolm MacDonnell and a few others of that ilk.
I have a photo here.
Oh yeah, well that's the original group.
Okay,
can you see it? Yeah.
That's the original group. That photo was taken in the year 2000.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yes.
You got it?
I think you have Scott Williams and
Buddy
McMaster.
Yeah, Buddy is there. Oh, there's a whole host of things. Who else?
Alice Freeman.
Alice Freeman, yes. Who else is there? what's his name? McGinnis from
Sheldon,
Cape Breton. Sheldon, yes. And Sam McPhee, who was head of the Gaelic College at that particular stage. Yeah. Dr. Hamilton, Effie Rankin, and Andrew McNeil. Oh, these were all of the original. Anyway, we succeeded in raising $100,000, which has been invested and is now invested with Centevex. And it is now grown to around the 200,000 mark. And as a result, we offer bursaries for young people to go to Scotland. To priority given to Gaelic speakers, but it can be for his genealogical research, for dancing, for other Scottish music, that sort of thing. We're approaching, as you know, since you're already on the board of the thing, we're getting close to the 100 mark of students, okay? And we offer them, now it's $1,200, which covers their ticket over and back, basically.
That's a big boost to their...
I'm very proud of that.
And they can study in any of the 6 Celtic countries.
Yes, originally it was the Scottish Travel Bursary Fund, but we realized that the Celtic culture extends not only Scotland, but to Ireland and Wales and Spain and Brittany,
Cornwall.
so there are 6. So we did it.
Isle of Man.
Yeah. So it became a travel bursary endowment fund.
Yes.
And we give about anywhere from 5 to 8 awards a year.
Yes. So I understand when you were parish priest in Malmo, you studied some Gaelic. You were brushing up on your Gaelic language there.
Well, I took it with Leslie McDaniel. I studied Gaelic, and I became part of that Cushion and Allen group, the Celtic choral group that Maureen Rankin Mackenzie established. But I learned a bit of Gaelic while I was there. Then when I went to Scotland as pastor, I studied Gaelic by 3 or 4 different people over the 3-year period. I jokingly say I learned to conjugate the verb to be in many years. However, I didn't learn, and I learned a lot about it. And while practicing and while teaching and taking the courses now, I was able to speak a fair bit. But you lose the window just opened. You have to practice, so I've lost it, basically. Except for a few words. I named my cottage here at my home is Tai Mahokan, which is Maha Mahokan.
Yes.
I don't care. Let it all hang out. Well, that's what it is. It's a carefree house.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you have a common kinship with Father Alan McMillan and Father Bernie and the late Father Malcolm McDonnell.
Yeah.
And Sister Margaret, of
course.
Yeah, there's ties there, and I'm just wondering your opinion on how important Gaelic, a role Gaelic played in the church years ago when the settlers first came over here. I know
the language is really the cement of the culture, and it was faith became extremely important. Currently, Bernie is now a Gaelic speaker, and so is Alan. And they have, when I was over a pastor in Scotland, Alan visited me twice, and Bernie also, at least twice, if not 3 times, while I was there. Bernie also was responsible for translating a Gaelic book of hymns. I think that is for Gaelic, it's around. He also brings over a number of people for tours and that kind of stuff. And it's all under the aegis of the church. Father Allen is a Gaelic speaker who spent a fair bit of time in Scotland studying genealogy, and at one point, this is before I was over there as pastor, we 3 of us, Bertie and Alan and myself, we went over and we looked after different parishes in the Diocese of Argyll and the Isles while the priest went on retreat. So I was looking after Dalibaro, Bernie was down in Barra, and where was Alan? Bernie was in Uist, and Alan was in Barra, I think. Anyway, we're there looking after the parish while the rest of the priests had gone on this retreat. So the church has been very much a part of it. The Maureen Rankin, who established the Cushion and Ellen group, all the practicing when done in the church at Mabu, and unfortunately when she died, Alan took over the direction of that. And they still meet, now they meet at Renewal Center in Mabu, eh? Yes. For the rehearsals and that kind of stuff. I think the Gaelic language, especially for the original pioneers, it was a source of strength and stability for them as a people. You must look, when we look at the pictures, you'll see how sad they were to leave, eh? Yeah. And they needed support when they got here. And so the Gaelic language and the church together enabled them to be supportive and hang on to their culture. The music, for example, this people in Scotland now come over here to study our language and song and music. And the reason for that is when the people came over, they came with their songs and with their musical instruments, and they developed it and sustained it and passed it on, and they didn't change. And so if you want to get Scottish people wanting to be supported by the original music that happened at the time of going on at the time of the clearances, then they come here. So we have the original pure Scottish music. Yes. And so lots of people come from Scotland. You know that as well as I do.
Yeah. Well, the links are strong. The connections are very, very strong.
They are, yeah.
And the language has survived all these years.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing that it has.
Yeah, we got the Highland Village Museum that is supporting that very much. Mm-hmm. Gaelic College is supporting that. The Celtic chairs at St. X, the Celtic chair at the University of Cape Breton. Mm-hmm. So all of these Celtic roots of education and culture are maintaining it and keeping it alive.
And every year during Gaelic month, there's an ecumenical service in Gaelic, with all religions participating, which is a nice thing too.
Yes,
you've been part of that.
Yes, Katrina Parsons is the organizer of that, eh? And when she looked for Gaelic speakers from Scotland, she relied upon me to help her identify them and bring them over. So we brought over, originally we brought over, who did we brought Jamie, the most recent one was Jamie McNeil, who's the rector of the cathedral in Oban. Eh? Who else did I bring over from there? I'm losing the name of the guy. Callum McClellan was one. I tried to get Callum, but Callum took a heart attack at the time. I'm running a blank. I identified and brought over at least 2, if not 3, of the Gaelic speakers from that area.
To celebrate.
Yeah.
And this year, I believe, it's going to be in Bursary.
Yes, Peter, that Knox Presbyterian Church. Yeah, Peter MacDonald, Reverend Peter MacDonald.
Uh-huh.
And I'm happy to know that. And it's in this month,
Yes.
soon.
I think it's the 28th.
28th, yeah. I'll be able to take it in because I'm going on June the 1st.
To Scotland.
Yes.
Right. So in that line too, you were very supportive of the Endowment Museum in Mabu.
Oh, yes.
And you loved music there, the events that took place, and you, I'm sure, got to know Effie Rankin and Margie Beaton very well, and they've done a wonderful job there too.
Oh, yeah. And Maureen Rankin, Ronald McKenzie's wife,
yes.
They were real strong supporters. Yeah. And then we had Catherine McCachran and Catherine Beaton. These are all strong Gaelic supporters. Yeah.
And it's a great resource to have.
Oh, yeah, it is, yeah. I visit Effie's mother every time I go to Scotland.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She's in North Uist. And she's a member of the We Free church. And but I go visit there, and Alan does, and so does Bernie when we're over. And always, the We Free do not drink, but she always had a bottle for us, for guests. So it was under the sink in the kitchen area, and she'd pour you a drink, a water glass, about that much. Lovely drink, yeah.
What changes have you seen over the years now since you've been involved with things Gaelic in Nova Scotia, since you became involved?
Well, I think the Department of Gaelic Affairs, which was initiated by Tando McIsaac, and Rodney MacDonald, that is, and McKinnon, what's his name? Lewis, yeah. It was the first director of that. You worked for the Gaelic Affairs yourself. But that has done a tremendous amount of good for the preservation and promotion of Gaelic within the province. And that's one thing that is taken. And like even such things as the naming, the naming of locations, English and Gaelic are on signage, but that's one of the items that's helped to it. We have the Scottish concerts. They have really developed that. They started in Broad Cove, about 60 years ago by Father John Huey McCachran. That's done a lot to promote the culture and the thing.
But there was a time when Gaelic wasn't preferred language. It was considered almost backward if you spoke Gaelic. So it wasn't encouraged at one point.
No, well, that's because the pioneers recognized that to be advanced and to get along in this country, English was a language. So they were encouraged to speak English, and as a result, there was not a suppression. The language and culture was confined to the home, more than anywhere else, and to prayer, that kind of thing. But it continued to survive in spite of that.
Yeah, it survived through the home usage.
Oh, indeed, yeah.
But with the creation of a position for Gaelic in the Department of Tourism by Rodney MacDonald, that helped a lot too.
Yeah, and Rodney is now the head of the Gaelic College, and he's done a tremendous amount. He's finally put back Gaelic in the title, the Gaelic College. Yes. For the longest while, Gaelic was a little bit weak in the culture there, but now it's dominant and extreme, and that's thanks to Rodney. Rodney, by the way, was my altar boy when I was in Mabu.
Yeah, and I think they recognize the need for interviews like this to preserve and promote Gaelic for years to
Yeah.
come. So
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
I don't know what I can contribute, except that my love affair is true.
that's good. So what future do you see for Gaelic now in the years to come? Is more government involvement the answer, or can you predict if there'll be ever a Gaelic medium school in Cape Breton?
Well, there are certainly a lot of Gaelic classes throughout the province, not only here in Cape Breton, but throughout the whole province, Halifax area, New Glasgow, Antigonish area, that whole thing. That's the continuation of it. A lot of the recipients of the Traveller Bursary Endowment Fund go to Salmarostic, the Gaelic College, to study Gaelic. That's supportive and maintaining it. It's, well, like Gaelic affairs, Gaelic month is May, and that's an element that promotes it. This ecumenical dimension is promoted through Katrina Parsons. That whole sort of, so I don't know that it's any more that the government can do. It's a question of continuation. What kept the Gaelic alive was in the home originally, and now if you keep teaching it in the home, you're going to maintain it and be supportive of it. So you don't really need the government. The government is helpful, but you can't rely solely on the government for the promotion.
The numbers enrolling in the Gaelic College courses
Oh, yeah.
are a good indicator.
Oh, indeed, yeah, they keep going up.
Yes,
Yeah,
there was
yeah.
over 100 at the
Yeah.
lunch break session.
Yeah.
Of young people, and all ages, sir.
Yes. Well, we had that tribute to Sister Margaret to see the students that were there from the immersion program, and they were all different ages,
Yeah.
I know what that gentleman was. The one guy he was obviously the oldest one, and then Cookie Rankin's no youngster either.
Yeah.
She was there also.
Well, that's great. Do you have any advice now for Gaelic learners of all ages?
Perseverance in the language courses. I had a mountain of material on Gaelic speaking and all, and when I was losing it as a result of non-practice, I had a full caseload, a suitcase full of stuff. So I passed it all off to Ronald Mackenzie, who is very instrumental in a lot of this teaching, Gaelic immersion and this sort of thing. So all of my resource material that I had in books and tapes and whatnot, Ronald has. And some of it has kind of made its way to Drockage. I think it's important to take advantage of the opportunities to speak Gaelic, to take in expressions of the culture as frequently as you possibly can, listen to as much tapes and music as you can, persevere, and cultivate your relationships with other Gaelic speakers. And I think the mere fact that there's almost 100 young people who've taken advantage of our Traveller Bursary Endowment Fund to go to Scotland and other Celtic cultures, that's an indication of the fact that many people want to be more fluent, more participant, and so I think we have to encourage people as much as we can. It's not necessary to rely solely on government. That's not the issue. I think it has to be individuals. Grateful for the government supporting, well and good, but it's the individuals and the families
who will maintain.
Oh, of course. That's where it was when they first came over, and that's the way it will continue to be. You come from a background like that, dear. You know that Glencoe area that you're from and all that.
There.
Yeah.
Yes, So, do you have any final thoughts today before we end the interview, Father?
No, except that I do want to take you through
Yes.
my pictures. See?
We will be doing that indeed.
Anyway, I'm grateful for the opportunity to say what express some of the thoughts that I have, and to share the knowledge that I have. You know, I've been fortunate. The title of my book, The Memoirs of a Priest, the subtitle is "Life Has Been Good to Me," and it has been extremely good to me.
That's a nice note to end on. I'd like to thank you now on behalf of the Gaelic College for participating in this interview project, and we really appreciate your thoughts and your wisdom. So, sé duine Kingussie a humov.
I don't know what I said totally.
You were a very clannish.
Oh God, I am.
And generous. Yeah.
Okay. While in Scotland, I gathered an awful lot of prints and paintings that kind of related to the history of the Scot. And so I now have them here, as you can see, and I'll try to go through with them. The one up in the upper left is the Abbey in Iona, and it's in the island of Iona where St. Columba came and really established, in my view, the church and the effect of the Celtic culture in Scotland. And the picture down below is an old picture of what Scotland used to look like, a map, and so you can see it there. And then the whole Jacobite cause to try maintain the influence of Scotland, the sovereign in Scotland, has a long roots. We know about Culloden, we'll come to that, but it's at roots. This one up here is in Glencoe, the massacre at Glencoe, and then this is another one of the Jacobite rebellions, the Killiecrankie one, and that's another one of the Jacobite causes. This picture here is the spoils. It's a famous painting. It's a print of course. See? It's a famous print where the soldiers that participated in the Jacobite causes often would reap the rewards of the conquest that they had. Down here is when Bonnie Prince Charlie arrived in the Isle of Eriskay on the way over, and he was told by some of the natives, "You go back because you don't have this real support of the French." But he said, "I am home," and so I am come home. That's that particular thing. Glenfinnan is the origin up at the top here of the Gaelic culture. The Gaelic culture. The effort to put the Prince James back on the throne, and through his nephew Charles, Bonnie Prince Charlie. And then down here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 pictures of the Battle of Culloden. This huge, that whole element. Then this one up here is the release of the prisoner. As you know, after the Battle of Culloden, many were taken. Those who weren't killed were taken in as prisoners, and this shows the release of one of them. And you know this Gaelic song or Celtic song, "You take the high road and I'll take the low road and I'll be in Scotland for you." It has its origins in this painting. This soldier and his buddy were both in Carlisle in prison. One was condemned to death and one was released, and this is the release, letter of release that's being read. But the other fellow said to him, "You take the high road and you take the low road, you take the high road, I'll take the low road, and I'll be in Scotland before you." That's the origin of that phrase. This is the Cromwell, not Cromwell, the butcher. What's his name? I forget it. anyway, the guy who had led the battle, after the Battle of Culloden, he destroyed as much of the culture as you could imagine. Here is this is an actual original painting I had picked up over there, destroying the cottage, the crofts, to get people, anybody who was supportive of the Celtic culture. This is Bonnie Prince Charlie leaving Scotland, and then there's three more here. This is the clan, right now, is that off? I'm forgetting the name. The last of the clan. I think I forget the title of that one. It's not that one. I'm 80, that's why. And then up here, this is Loch Harbour No More. Okay, coming over. And this one down below is Why Have I Left My Home? Why Have I Left My Home? The sadness of the whole departure. Can I reach that? Yeah. And then there's another, this is the aftermath of Culloden. This painting is in, the original is in, oh dear, where is it? I'll come to it in the meantime. Anyway, it's in three panels. I know you brought you over a little closer. The top part represents the hope that Bonnie Prince Charlie held out for the reincarnation, so to speak, of the Scottish kings, as part of it. So that's kind of ethereal, princely, or saintly top. The middle portion is the effect. It's women who suffer. While there were many hundreds of men that died, women suffered through the loss of their husbands, the loss of their fathers, their brothers, and so that's this whole thing of the effect featuring this woman who was in pain. And the bottom portion is the butcher, afterwards destroying anybody else that supported the Celtic culture. And what I'm trying to describe in three panels is also written up in that particular thing there. And in back where you can't see it, there's a tune called Father Vernon's First Hogmanay. That's a tune written in my honor for a Gaelic piper. Clan Cameron played a very significant part in the Battle of Culloden when Lochiel brought his clan, was the first of the major clans to support the prince. And so this whole section here is my Cameron domain, and since that's the heritage that I'm part of, and I'm very proud. So you see all of Clan Cameron in many ways. Mm-hmm. The March of the Cameron Men is featured here. The Cameron of Arag, the branch that I belong to, is out here to the left. And this bottom picture down there below is Ben Nevis. It's all Cameron. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, even my Scottish fellow over here on the door, you got all of that? Uh-huh. Okay. And how about my piper? Oh, yes. I like him.
That's very nice.
I've had that since about mid-50s. Mm-hmm. And it's good.
That's a hooked mat or a hooked?
Yeah, it's machine done, eh?
Machine done, yeah.
It's nice. Mm-hmm. And then if you wanted to see the dishes sort of in there, the origin of that. I don't know if you need your speaker on that again.
That's okay. I think we're fine.
Okay. These are the bucking stoneware, thistle pattern.
Oh, that's the first ones you mentioned you bought, you collected.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And then over here, this is serving for 12. with all of that stuff, eh?
Oh, wow. Look at that.
And then here are pictures, the whole group of pictures up here. They're
Yes.
all over the place.
Wow.
But these ones here in particular are all of my parish in Kingussie, the territory.
Oh, yes.
The minister's wife took these pictures and presented them to me when I left.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's good above all my buck and stoneware pieces.
Yes.
And I had them framed since I come home. Cover the whole thing.
Very nice. Excellent.
Yeah. And then if you really want to take a look at this is better.
Oh.
This is all of my Edinburgh crystal.
Beautiful.
Isn't that lovely?
Oh my
Thistles.
goodness gracious.
I have that insured, by the way, because it's worth a lot of money. So there you go. Isn't that a
Wow,
lovely
that's
piece?
beautiful.
That's Edinburgh crystal.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful cabinet too.
Yeah, that is a very old cabinet.
Uh-huh.
I had it, the guy that did a lot of the restoration work in Lewisburg is the one who restored that cabinet for me.
Oh, beautiful.
I had it done, about 30 or 40 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
When I got the price, the asking price, but when I got it, it was $750 to redo it.
Wow.
I darn near died.
It's
Anyway.
beautiful. Very nice,
Yeah.
Father.
And this is part of Morar, eh?
Yes.
And this is
I'm just
the
going to
chisel
zoom in on
one,
this one.
what do you call it? It's not off, I'm forgetting the names now. The chisel pattern, anyway. But this center, the bigger one in the center, is the Cotter Saturday Night.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Burns.
Happy births.
Yeah.
And you participate in a lot of the tributes to Robbie
God,
Birds.
I was the main speaker at one of those in Scotland,
Uh-huh.
and I tried to have that accent, but it was a source of good laughter. Anyway, that's
great.
good enough.
Well, thank you very much, Father.
Okay.
More than thank.
Taplet.